Hi, Chris Conway here, and I'm here to talk about Modulight's new album, Return To Acamar, and Modulight in general, and our previous two albums, and how this kind of thing came together. Modulight is myself, Chris Conway, and Jez Creek. Jez Creek is a synthesist, electronicist, whatever you'd call it, producer of electronic music, and he travels up and down the country and out of the country with his amazing boxes of tricks, as I think of it. I mean, seriously, in the old day you'd call it banks of synthesizers, but I imagine banks of synthesizers being, racks of the things and rooms of the things like Tangerine Dream used to be. But he has these little boxes, and I don't know what they are. It seem to be different ones each time. He has a great number in his collection, I'm sure, and he gets amazing sounds out of them, and very instinctive player. And the first time I met Jez was when he started coming to the Quadelectronic sessions that I have been organizing now for nearly 16 years, and then he invited me to play at the events that he runs called Church of Sound in Nottingham, and I've been there solo and with Memory Wire Duo, and to play with Modulight there. And I, in this group, tend to play my theremin through my effects and delays and filters and ring modulators and other things, as well as some electroacoustic stuff like whistles and shakers, and by whistles I mean Irish whistles, not pff, and other things that come to hand like that. So other electroacoustic, all put through this electronic soup. So that's how we started working together. In lockdown, we couldn't play together, all of us electronic chums, and I came up with an idea whereby it ended up being called the United Isolation Ensemble, where musicians would send solo recordings in, and to my chum Jim Tetlow from Memory Wire and Audible Light, and he pulls them all together, and he chooses, he creates duos, trios, quartets by mixing things, which, he's got a great ear for these things, for mixing us together into like virtual jamming, really, except we never hear what the other person's doing. But these have gone on to make albums called Lockdown number 1, 2, 3. So we're up to Lockdown number 50. Lockdown finished long ago, but United Isolation Ensemble carries on. Well, I think because Jez and I tend to play long sounds, my theremin goes through harmonizer delays and another delay, and it creates a kind of electronic ocean of sound. And Jez has his big synthesizer sounds, which also is fairly continuous. So we noticed that Jim kept pairing Jez and I together, and we realized we had enough for an album. So we pulled our favorite tracks that were pulled together, and I think we took mostly Jim's mixes. I think we might have remixed one or two ourselves when we realized we could take the solo parts and mix them ourselves. But the first album a couple of years ago was Ritual Alchemy, and Modulight was born. Now, why Modulight? Well, the name comes from Jez tends to not go out under his own name. He has a sort of artist name of Modulator ESP, and that's what his own albums are recorded under. And I have been in a group called Audible Light for quite a long time, a quartet, and so between the two we thought Modulight just came out of the air, so that's why it sounds a bit like a margarine. But so yes, that was Ritual Alchemy, and then thereafter we had years go by, and we found we had another set of sounds which were largely derived from the United Isolation Ensemble recording. So we did another one. This one's a bit more lively, and the other one's a bit more ambient. So this one was called Liminal Vision, and that's what that one looks like. And well, since then we had I went to play a set with Jez at his Church of Sound in Nottingham, and we did this amazing 30-minute jam together. I mean, without any preparation, and actually setting up, there were other acts on the bill that night, so I had to set up all the effects and wires and stack and rack and everything. And I can't say that I was totally relaxed when we started, but for some reason it really came together. It wasn't like anything we'd done before. For a start, it wasn't just the usual 7 minutes, 10 minutes, it was 30 minutes. So you go beyond your usual, I do this usually kind of thing, or safe ground, and you start developing other things which come to hand, and surprise things come out of it. Also, it was enhanced by Jez had some audio visuals. It was a dark space, and they were going on in the room at the time. So that was 30 minutes. So now that lingered for a while. I wasn't sure how good this was for a while. I put it to one side, and when I heard it back, suddenly I realized it's pretty special. So we only needed 3 other tracks to do, and we could pool also now, because we could play live together again after lockdown at recordings from Quadelectronic events and live events. And so this is effectively a live album, and recorded at, yes, like Quadelectronic events, 3 of them, and the Church of Sound. So this is Return to Acamar. Now, what is Return to Acamar about? Well, it's always difficult naming abstract electronic track sounds. But when you listen to these tracks, we desperately wanted to avoid the cliche of thinking of outer space, because electronic music often is tied together with outer space themes or titles or what have you. But we just couldn't get away from it. That this, especially the long track, all of them really, sounded like an incredibly long voyage, space voyage. I was thinking, it brought to my mind, I read books about science fiction books based on, they call it generational starships, where the people who begin the voyage know that it's going to last for 1,000 or 2 years, and they won't be the ones who land on the planet. They will be traveling for thousands of years, and their children or their children's children will get there, and that came into my mind. So instead of the usual, what are we going to call this track, I thought of using star names and in a way plotting from one star to another, from that star to the next, and that star to the next, and the final track back to the beginning. So it's a tour of the stars. Acamar To Fomalhaut is the first track, Fomalhaut To Matar, and Matar To Zaurak. I had to look up these star names, but I was mostly looking for cool names. And also, each one is later in the alphabet as well. And then Return To Acamar is the big track of 30 minutes long. So that's it, Return To Acamar. Some of this is all going on in the background. I don't know if you can hear it or whether it's sounding annoying, but this is Modulight, and I do hope you can just give it a listen. It's on Spotify, it's on Bandcamp and all the other places. But if you like spacey, atmospheric, cosmic music, it's not raucous, it's evocative, I think. And well, see what you think about it. Modulight, Modulighd, and boldly go and listen to Return To Acamar. Thanks for listening. Catch you later. Bye.